Good day, Dr. Song. So today, me and my group members would like to present on stress, harassment, and colorism, a workplace dilemma. So, myself, I'm Farhana Nabila. My group member consists of Sarvina and also Kartika. Have you ever felt tired and complicated everything at one time and you're like, ugh, I'm so stressed? Therefore, for the first issue we were going to talk about today would be about stress. So, what is stress? According to layman's term, it means shift in normal mental or physical function as a result of positively or negatively factor around us. According to Barrett and Newman, syndrome due to the interaction of people by their employment and defined by changes within the people that cause them to affect their usual functioning. So there are two theories which is incorporated with stress. First is the person-environment fit theory, which is work-related stress arises due to lack of fit between the individual skills, resources, and abilities and the demands of the work. The second one is job demand control theory. Work-related stress can result from the interaction between several psychological job demands relating to workload, such as cognitive and emotional demands, interpersonal conflict, job control relating to decisions authority, and skill discretion. So there's two types of stress. First is eustress. Eustress is fair amount of stress which an individual can tolerate. This stress usually gives a positive effect. For example, eliciting talent, exquisite talent. Second one is distress. Distress is described as abnormally high level of stress. This level of stress is detrimental to a person. It gives a negative impact to the individual's mind and body. So, how does stress happen? There are two groups of stress. First is internal stress. Internal stress is depending on the individual's mentality. It creates triggers, hence these triggers arises within the person and results in stress. These internal triggers are depending on the individual's perception. Secondly is external stress. The variety of external factors in an organization that influence the individual's performance. One of the contributors are job insecurity. When an employee is working in an organization and has the thoughts of losing his or her job, it creates chronic stress, which then contributes to decrease in working efficiency. So, how does stress affect one's daily functioning? There are three ways on how stress affects a person. First is physically. So stress affects the respiratory system, hence it makes you cough and sigh or even have flu because stress also affects your immune system. Not to forget physically, it makes you stutter and sometimes when a person is depressed due to stress, they start to grit their teeth. Secondly is psychologically. So stress reduces an individual's motivation, resulting in nervousness. Stress triggers rapid thoughts in the head. This causes the person to have forgetfulness and it worsens the condition. Also, this is how people with stress usually be told that they are emotionally attached to something and they become very much emotional towards a thing. And lastly is behavior. So individuals become irritable because of stress. Individuals that are depressed become frustrated and this creates suicidal ideation. How to overcome stress? There are two ways which are individual and organizational. Individually is to get enough rest, participate in physical activities, and talking to a close friend. This might help you to reduce your stress level. Whereas an organization could help in reduce long working hours, increase communication between employee, and introducing retirement plan to decrease the financial burden. In Malaysia versus global culture, So, as in context of Malaysia versus global aspect. So, in Malaysia, there's a study done by UPM students stating that the working hour that we have is quite long compared to most of the Asian countries. Globally, in Japan, they have privilege of sleeping at workplace if they are tired. This happened to be implemented by almost all of the companies in Japan. As for the similarities, both globally and in Malaysia, they share the same aspect of where they experience deterioration of mental health from working place. Hence, this actually incorporates that even though they have good facilities or good working place practice, yet mental health related with stress could still happen. So that's all for me. Thank you. I will pass the next topic to Sarvina.
I am Sarina. The second issue we're going to discuss is psychological harassment. What is psychological harassment? Psychological coercion is used as an umbrella term and encompasses both workplace discrimination and sexual harassment.
So, why does it matter? Social standpoint, psychological harassment is most important since it may lead to trauma and suffering. As psychological abuse increases, post-traumatic anxiety disorder can emerge. Other than that, psychological abuse can include sexist, classist, heterosexist, transphobic, and racist elements. When sexual assault signifies resulting in various sorts of harassment, psychological suffering may increase.
Now let's move on to theories. According to evolutionary biological views, males' innate tendency to mate and reproduce extensively determines their sexual abuse of females. Males, on the other hand, attack other males in order to discredit rivals and diminish their assumed mate esteem. Moving forward to the second one, according to the socio-cultural viewpoint, psychological harassment is often used to police proper forms of doing gender by targeting those who deviate from conventional gender stereotypes and norms. Psychological abuse is a result of gender identity socialization practices that perpetuates male dominance. Sexual objectification of women, the reduction of women to metrosexualized bodies, and societal acceptance of violence against women. The next is, according to organizational theory, sexual assault arises from the opportunities provided by power and authority relationships derived from hierarchical organizational systems. Because of workplace norms, gender equality, and embedded power structures between men and women, the social and environmental environments at work offer mechanisms for harassment or indirectly promote harassment. Malaysian and global context on psychological harassment. The similarities are both Malaysia and global perspectives offer same form of punishment and almost same act of law for the convict who is guilty. Malaysian and global context in psychological harassment. The differences are, in Malaysia, Malaysians are scared to voice out because they are scared the image and reputation would be tarnished. This is because Malaysians are concerned about image more than what happened to them, hence they prefer not to expose. Globally, people across globe were well aware and dared to voice out on this issue that happened. For recommendations, the first one would be change the organizational climate and contexts permitted by psychological harassment. The second one would be psychological harassment preparation will improve reporting, raise corporate policy awareness, and increase psychological harassment sensitivity. Reduce the blame on victims. The last one would be requires programs encouraging bystanders. That is all for psychological harassment. Thank you. I am Kartika, and I'll be discussing on the third issue, which is colorism. What is colorism? Colorism is a discrimination against a person based on their racial identity, which involves skin tone. Issues in colorism. The views on this issue are: there are plenty of people out in the society who get discriminated against for their skin tone or have stains of colorism on them. Many don't confront it, rather stay positive about it. Individuals with lighter complexions become wealthier and receive advanced college degrees on more occasions than those with darker skin tones. Men who are considered the breadwinner of the family, and when these men get hindered in the chance of getting employed due to skin color, it makes them feel less masculine. For the effects of colorism, those who are discriminated against and threatened with own self-esteem often turn to suicide as an expression or solution to the end of frustration. The theory which can be integrated into this issue here is Mark Cleary's sociometer theory. This theory proposes that the self-esteem system is dependent on social acceptance. Individuals who are not accepted or appreciated by people around them or society tend to have low self-esteem. How to overcome colorism? The first way is to provide counseling and mediation to affected individuals. Those who are affected are at higher risk of getting disturbed emotionally, so providing or encouraging affected victims to go for counseling will be a help to solve their own emotional, social, personal, or interpersonal problems. The second way is to encourage public or social media talks on colorism. Interviews and forums will be a great idea to expose this matter to the society and to raise awareness on the impact of colorism on individuals with the help of social media. The third way is to take stern actions in early stages. Children who are growing up often pick up behaviors and actions from people around them. It could be normal in their circle of people to discriminate against someone on their skin tone. It is important to educate children on this matter appropriately while they are still young. Now, we will move forward to Malaysia versus global context. For the similarities, in Malaysia and globally, it is understandable to say that they have the same amount of decreasing in self-esteem whenever they face discrimination against skin color. For the differences, in Malaysia, people generally loathe on their skin and prefers a whiter complexion. Hence, media portrays being white is beauty. And in Europe countries, people prefer having tanner skin. They even go for sunbathing because they feel being tan is prettier. In conclusion, even though we live in an era of elevated globalization, there are still issues going on in workplaces which seem to never stop. However, the lack of actions taken, lack of voicing out, and less awareness on this issue has continuously produced more victims. The negligence of human feelings has led to such social issues worldwide. This video hopes to raise awareness to a higher level on the effects of workplace dilemmas on an individual, thus ending it. And that is all from us. Thank you.